Huh? Yeah.
I'm not here on time.
We're gonna have to make them associated members.
There you go.
I,
All right. So this is
We're
the.
gonna be associated members?
yeah, I actually joined the club, so I am.
There you go. This is the meeting of the Country Club of Woodbridge Commission. It's Monday, June 27th, 2016. We're at the Town Hall Central Meeting Room. The first item on the agenda is public comments. Mr. Sherman, you have the floor.
Yes. Hi, my name is Roger Sherman, 5 Fairview Road. I am a frequent member to the club, and I, help out where I can. And it's good to see you back, Tommy, for your little visit.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
You are truly missed. And
Well, likewise.
I've met your replacement, and he seems like a decent guy. He likes to listen. Just things I oversee at the club. I just would still like to see you guys take care of the town's equipment that they supply, like the tables and the tent. To just keep that the area clean, because it is used between the pool and that area. I'm also concerned with any subs you might have, to make sure they have their proper insurance and things like that, because it was brought to my attention they had an outing and they used the grills under the tent. I don't know what the weather situation was or whatever, but that's not a safe thing to do. So I just look out after our our taxpayers equipment, or town's equipment, please. All in all, the club looks good, course looks good. I hear everybody over there, and generally you guys are great neighbors, and I appreciate what the commission does, and I hope the town appreciates it, and the rest of the residents. I thank you very much, and have a good night.
Thank you, Roger.
That's it, Roger?
That's it.
Wow, that might be a record.
I have to say I have 2 other meetings to go to.
Okay.
There you go. You don't want to get laryngitis.
I'm being nice. I'm starting off nice. I'm saving it for others.
The other 2 may not be as peaceful, Roger.
No.
Okay. Second item on the agenda, I would like to introduce to everyone, and to the audience or whatever, the new general manager, Steve Landi, who has joined us through the Casper organization from Oxford Greens. And Steve, why don't you just give us a little background, etc. I know our Steve, just as an aside, was in urgent care this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
he's much of a voice.
Yeah, his voice is a little I mentioned laryngitis before, but in any event, we'll see how far it goes.
But as Deacon introduced me, I've been with Billy Casper for almost 10 years now. I'm a golf lifer. I grew up in the golf business. I've done what Dennis does on his side of it. Did that growing up, working my way through college and everything. Got into the other side of it as a golf professional, played in college. I was a pretty good player back a while ago, until I got into the management end of it, and then you don't get to play anymore. But I spent 13 years at a private club in Rhode Island as the head golf professional. I then spent 8 years as a director of golf at a club in Massachusetts called Brook Meadow. It was at Alpine in Rhode Island. I came to work for Billy Casper Golf, a place called Wentworth Hills on the Rhode Island, Massachusetts line. The job at Oxford came open. They asked me to go there, and I came down to Oxford. I have a place in Beacon Falls I stay at. I do live in Rhode Island. My home is actually in Rhode Island, but I do stay in Beacon Falls so that I can be down here as much as I need to be down here. I'm happy to be here. It seems like it's a fun place to be. Tommy's left it in good shape, and I'm just hoping that we can just do the right thing going forward.
That's great. So any questions, Steve, or about his background and things like that, or before we move on?
I studied architectural engineering. Why I became a golf professional, my mother's still asking that question today.
Hey.
Clubhouse redesign, right?
Okay, minutes. We're going to review the minutes of the meeting of May 23rd, and actually I already noted that I made an error in insofar as I reported Sandy as being both present and absent, which is,
Not easy to be.
yeah, well, I mean, sometimes you can be here and
Right, I
sort
got
of
it.
absent. I think that's
I
part of
hear
it,
you.
but he
did that
was
purple
not
number
here.
tonight.
So I am amending what you see before you to, just report him as absent. And otherwise,
Otherwise, Zeke, the only thing is
Yeah.
that I would like to add that I did bring up the discussion of opening the golf course to an early evening of walking in
Mhm.
July and or August. So I would just like to add that somewhere. I don't even know where we should add it because I'm going to bring it up again.
okay. I will add it after review of agronomic
That's fine.
conditions before on a motion. And it will basically state something like, Phyllis is investigating?
Fine.
Yeah, okay. Is investigating.
Possibility. Fine. Thanks,
The
Steve.
idea
There you
of
go.
providing access, pedestrian access, I don't know, a day of town access to the golf course. How's that? A day of town access to the golf course?
An early evening,
To the
'cause
golf course.
on a Sunday, but
Okay.
we'll discuss
Well,
it
we'll get
further.
into the details.
okay, great.
Is
Thank
everyone
you.
fine with that? I added Phyllis is investigating the idea of providing a day of town access to the golf course.
And providing refreshments, I think you mentioned too, right?
Well, I think, yeah,
Well,
we'll get into the
we'll
detail.
get into whatever. It was really the idea of just
Yeah.
trying to.
Yeah.
Now I will make a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second. Any further discussion? They are approved. And
We
with
accept
that,
these as a draft.
excuse me?
I mean, you're changing them, so it really should have to be like a draft, no?
A
Ones that-
redraft?
Yeah.
Okay. Redraft subject to final, whatever. I was thinking about, oh yeah. Okay, so, review of year-to-date golf operations. I don't know, Tommy, is that you or
I'm gonna-
Steve, or
so I think,
how are you gonna do it?
Steve's gonna get the keys to the Ferrari
Is it like,
here
wait,
soon.
it's like somebody, one of you says the good news and one of you says the bad news?
Yeah,
Is it one of
we'll good
those
cop,
things, or-
bad cop it tonight. Yeah, moving forward, Mr. Landy spent the day in urgent care. That gives him a get out of jail free pass
Yeah,
today. So
yeah.
I'll go ahead and color in. We'll start with Steve because I think he's an integral part of that operation. You guys are getting a really, really, really good general manager, and I can't put enough reallys in there. He's fantastic. I had a little sidebar with Phyllis earlier, but the staff has received him really well, and that is not the corporate answer. That is real life. He's doing a great job. He's got a lot of new, fresh ideas. The office is probably the cleanest it's been in 3 years. So he's doing a lot of things really well.
Make it sound like that's sick.
Yeah, that's probably right, but we don't want to go there. So I think that from a management standpoint, you probably gained a little bit. So he's really good. I think he's gonna have a nice second half of the year for you. But I know everybody's pretty excited to have him. So all good stuff on that front. I think there's still some work on the proposal. I know there's chatter. I know a new toll proposal came out this week. So as far as the Casper stuff, I know that there's conversation being held. I don't know the details. And as soon as we get some more information, I'd like to have a better update for you when we get into July. Just to give you guys an idea, I know that Ryan and then obviously Mr. Cutler, Mike Cutler from Billy Casper Golf have been working with kind of the town to get something done here. So as that information becomes available, we will relay that. So just to give you an idea of regional overview of the Northeast, the best day of May was the 31st because that meant the month was over. From a rain standpoint, from a cold standpoint, It was a pretty terrible month across the region. To put it in perspective, we were down 1.1 million as a region. That's the Northeast. So that should give you.
That's like 20
over,
clubs or how many
about
clubs?
28 clubs. Yes.
28. Okay.
So that should give you guys an idea of how pathetic the month was, and sometimes we get in a stretch in June where the weather has been really good and the numbers look a lot better, and then you realize that May kind of an anomaly, but we'll kind of transition into that. But just to give you guys an idea or some perspective on some of the numbers we're going to talk about here. So the big drop off in May weather. We actually missed the revenue target by about 48,000, and it put us $5,000 behind last year through May. And those are golf revenues. You'll see that there's a little difference here. If you look at your P&L of 16,000, well, 11,250 of that comes from the town payment. So the golf revenues, we were chasing about $5,000. The nice thing here is in June we're going to make up about $15,000 over prior year. So I believe last year we wrote the town a check for $50,000. We're going to come through the first half about $10,000 ahead of that number.
And that's in golf revenue.
That's in golf revenues. That's correct.
Yeah, okay.
One of the things that we do want to kind of discuss is if you do look at that P&L, you'll see some really good numbers as far as green fee and cart fee. Shop sales look healthy. Driving range and passes are flat, and then we get down to that dues line, and that's your membership number, and that number has dropped off a little bit here to start the year, and we think part of that might be we know that we don't have that deal in place yet. So as soon as we get that, we think that the consumer confidence will go up. But until that's probably finalized, I know Steve said he's seen it on the golf outing side, and we're seeing it on the dues line where it is impacting kind of those golf revenues. So we've been able to translate some of those extra tee times that we would have in membership into daily fee players, which is a good thing, right? But it's nice to have that chunk of dues revenue as high as we can get it. So just want to color in on that. So any questions so far?
Well, Tommy, and I know you and I have sort of had this conversation, but the losses in membership, I mean, obviously you can identify names. It's it's not a hard task, and there's people who relocate.
Sure.
But what is for the rest of the people? What is the prevailing sentiment?
Oh, and you make a good point, Deke. And when you talk about why is the membership number dropping? Well, that you're going to have families that move. You're going to have, unfortunately, some families will pass away. People that'll leave. Something's closer to somebody's house. Whatever. We actually allot for about 10% of your membership to leave every year, which is pretty normal, right? The problem that we're running into is to go out and recruit that new 10% or above, which we've done kind of the past couple years. It's been harder to get those people committed to Woodbridge with the kind of mindset of, okay, I was a member here. I don't want to leave my current club to go to the new club if I'm going to end up going back to my old club at the end of the year. So that's restricting us a little bit. We've had a couple groups come over, but we've had some groups that we've had conversations with that have said, we're a little hesitant to make the move until we know what's going on. So we think as soon as we can get that sealed, we might be able to pick up 15% next year in new membership just from just having that stability. So I think that we're on the right track with it. As soon as we can get that stuff locked up, I think we'll see that kind of jump back up again.
And we do some sort of second half incentive to grab these people, right? Or I mean,
Yeah, we'll start the pro rate. We'll start the pro
Yeah.
rate July
Yeah.
1. We'll start the pro rate the membership. to try to get them to come in. And we're also seeing it on the re-up of the outing side too.
Yeah.
You know, trying to
That,
get.
I would think, Steve, is really going to hurt us.
Yeah, it's difficult to get an outing to commit to next year if they don't know if there's going to be a next year. So what we try to do is get them in, try to get them at least tentatively on the book, and then just tell them you'll be the first ones to know as soon as we know.
So tentatively in the book, in the sense of we'll commit to a date,
Commit to a date,
and
but
give them a little bit of time
getting them to
before
sign a
they have to
contract.
commit to the
Yeah,
date, or is that?
but they won't sign a
Yeah.
contract.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. That makes sense.
But again, you know, the nice thing is the weather pattern was kind of up to start, down end of April, beginning of May, and then back up in June. So at the end of the day, the roller coaster is going to say we're going to put a 10 grand win over prior year. So the nice thing for the town, that equates to about $5,000 more than last year. So all good things there, and the course is primed up for a very good back half of the year. We've got a lot of outings. In fact, I was joking with Steve, but I'm pretty serious. He might do more outings in late September and October than any other clubs in the Northeast. I think we've got
Well,
six.
last year was real good those months,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Or I thought.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we're able to host
Yeah.
some pretty solid events there.
Okay.
The nice thing about that is, you know, that the weather can be a little tricky in those months, and you insulate yourself. So I think that he's got a week in August that I might be running the counter or helping him out with whatever I might be picking the range, because we've got a week between camp and I think it's like 3 outings, but the total revenue on those outings might be close to $60,000 between that week. So it's a pretty solid kind of 10-day stretch there where, you know, August looks really promising. He booked an event in July that I was blown away with. They sent the check, and he called me and he goes, "What's this check for?" And it was a check for like $12,000. And he goes, "This is the first half of the payment for that day." So he landed an event, 288 players, $24,000 day. So to put that in perspective, that's probably
$6,000 is a good day.
yeah.
I mean, just as an aside.
That's exactly right.
24,000.
Yeah, so you're doing
Yeah.
you know a week's worth of business essentially in
Right,
a day.
right, yeah.
So you know, kudos to him and the team for kind of locking up that event. But that's all really good stuff.
Yes, and that's why I'm concerned that it's hanging, because I know how important. I'm watching Dennis shake his head. I know how important these events are, and I know from talking to the people who come off the golf course after, they're really happy here.
The golf course is in great shape.
The golf course is in great shape. The people who are there are, everybody who works at the golf course, you know, stands on their head and spits wooden nickels to make everybody happy. So I know that if there wasn't this insecurity, that they would leave the golf course and sign up and give you a check immediately. And this is a problem for the course right now, I believe.
Yeah.
But again, all good things to report. I'm going to turn it over to Dennis. I mean, I was at the property, you know, twice in the last 2 weeks, and the golf course is probably in the best shape it's been in the 3 years that I've seen it. He's doing a really good job, so I'll let him kind of fill
Okay,
in.
but before you do, I just want to ask Steve one thing. I played briefly today, in and out, and I saw all the kids on the driving range.
Yep, the junior academy.
Yeah, I would love to get a picture in the Woodbridge.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
It's amazing. All these kids and their bags and happy as can be, and I think it's important.
We'll get
21
some
of them.
posted up on Facebook.
Okay, 21 of them.
We'll get that
Yeah,
posted up on Facebook too.
yeah. Would you? Yeah. Where's Roger?
I'll take some of those pictures.
Would you?
Okay.
I just think, Steve, that we
Okay.
need all the publicity we can get.
Yeah.
And I came up and I'm watching them. I'm like, oh my God, this is fabulous. And a lot of little girls. So that
Half of-
really made me happy.
Half of the class.
I
was
saw
girls.
that
Yeah, it's
in their
fantastic.
little FootJoy golf shoes. Okay, sorry.
Before we get to course conditions, I had a couple questions, comments. One of the things I'd like to do or have done for next month is a revenue forecast or a golf revenue forecast.
Sure.
I mean, you know, typically we do it like every 3 months or so. So let's get it on the agenda for July. I'd like to see the detail. I mean, in the sense of, I mean, primarily, you know, golf revenues are dues, outings, and, well, kind of all other. And so if it's in those categories, you know, compared to
We do a
last
forecast
year,
with the
you know,
company. We do a
Yeah,
forecast with
yeah,
Billy Casper Golf,
yeah.
and we can easily just
yeah, just
distribute.
pick those numbers up
Yep.
and then, you know, and again, you know, I mean, you can play with them or whatever, but, you know, I would like to have that at the July 25th meeting. And also, you know, let's, just to go back to the pool a little bit, you know, I don't know if anybody's aware, but, and I don't know the current number, but as of a week ago, or thereabouts, there were 146 members.
No, it's over 150. I saw Anthony yesterday.
Okay.
151 or 153.
Okay.
Am I right? Yeah, I saw Anthony
It's a
yesterday.
lot, yeah.
One
And-
fifty.
and-
I walked around the parking lot.
When I talked to Anthony yesterday, it was 151.
Yeah,
So
I
we may
knew
pick
it
up
had a
one or two
5 in
more.
the deke.
Okay.
Yep.
The
Okay.
other thing that you want to look at too, I believe on Sunday they did like 292 touches or guests that came through for the day.
Or I'm sorry, members and guests.
Members and guests.
Yeah, yeah.
That's incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
the utilization is what we're looking for, and it's through the roof good.
But, you know, I mean, just as a frame of reference, last year there were 62 members. So again, we're at 150 something this year. But, or I wanted to mention that, but also, you know, I mean, now there's got to be, or evidently there's some impact in the junior golf program. You know, are there other opportunities to, I mean, are there existing pool members who would become golf members? Is there, you know, I mean, is there a, you know, way we can sell something to them?
We definitely can. You know, I've got an email blast set up that hopefully goes out this week for golf clinics for
Okay.
the weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
Adult beginner golf clinics.
Yeah.
That maybe, you know, because some of the kids are trying, maybe the adults will,
Right.
you know,
Right.
take a beginner golf clinic, and we'll price it right. And I'm looking at like 10 o'clock, right around the time the pool opens. That time there,
Okay.
so they come for a golf clinic and then spend the rest of the day at the pool.
Okay.
So hopefully that'll get some of them that are a little bit interested.
Okay.
You did have some new faces at camp today. You know, just over prior year, I think
Yeah.
I counted 7
Yeah.
that were new of the 21 that were there.
Okay.
So 14 re-ups and then 7 new. So again, that may be pulling from the pool
Well, and
side
I'm
as
sure, I mean, you know, lots of times, or, you know, with the kids, if somebody's playing golf, somebody else wants to
Yeah.
play golf because
Guilt-free
you know,
golf,
the
right,
peer
that's what we
thing
call it,
or
yeah.
whatever, yeah, yeah.
Follow up on that.
That's all I had on, you know, like operations. Did anybody have any questions about
Yeah,
monthly
Tommy,
operations or
Food and beverage
things?
wise, is that
Yeah.
due to the decrease in numbers for May? Is that going hand in hand? Will that?
So, believe it or not, a lot of it has to do with event timing. We had one of our, I mean, it sounds silly, but like one of our events that was the Teamsters event, they were in May last year and they were in June this year. They went, I think, June 4th, 5th, 6th, somewhere in there.
Right.
And last year, they were our first event in like May 13th. So, just something that small. One outing would be somewhere between $2,000 to $5,000 in food and beverage. So just those tiny amounts. I mean, it was literally one golf outing.
Sure,
It's
so there's nothing
suicide.
concerning then.
Yeah.
No.
And,
What?
and you'll see that number kick up actually here in the next couple months. So.
Yeah, the food and beverage income on their books is just the outings and the beverage
Beverage card,
card,
yeah,
right?
just-
Or-
yeah.
Not the grill. Yep.
Correct, yeah,
That's correct.
okay. Okay.
I
What's
got
Rich?
one question. This is gonna probably be out in referendum. I don't know if you guys seen that.
Yeah, that's a new proposal.
And my question, and I know you can't really answer it right today, but the way that this is where their Toll Brothers looking, is it possible to still have 9-hole, well, of course, back 9, could just, I know you can't make it today, but if you could look at that, okay? In case that passes, I'd like to still see a golf course there.
Yeah, Rich. I mean, it would depend on obviously a number of different things.
Right.
You know, the model and the revenue numbers you see here now are probably not applicable based on that. So
Well, I think the number, don't forget, a lot of your business right now is still, this is holding it back, I think, people from, because they don't know
Sure.
what's gonna happen. So I think we ought to at least plan ahead of time, letting you know that this is the way they're looking to vote. Can we still keep a golf course there? Can we have the back nine? I think you can, but I'm not a
I
golfer.
mean, anything's possible. So
Sandy, I think a better question is, I ask this every year, is there a market for a 9-hole golf course?
You know
Yeah,
what
watch.
I'm looking at, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Watch the answer we get every year. Is there a market for 9-hole
Did you
golf
see
course?
this?
Oh, yeah.
Stephanie's selling that 9-hole course. It's up for sale.
And I think it's important that we know where we're going. If
Well,
this passes, then can we still keep a golf course? I'd like, to,
You might be able to physically keep a golf course land-wise, but is there a market for a 9-hole golf course?
I don't know.
Well, I think these guys do. Watch the answer.
Well, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm not helping you out here. Watch the answer.
the dynamic based on what we have here would not be applicable. So
No,
when you look
I
in terms of
understand.
revenue, when you look in terms of outings, when you look in terms of membership, you would probably see close to a 90% reduction in all those categories based on what would be there. Now, could there be a new market for, senior play or junior play? Sure. But in terms of the 18-hole green fee revenue, that would be reduced significantly. Would it be a walking only course? Would we even have a cart fee? Again, those are all questions that I guess we could have that discussion. From our standpoint, it would be this model that we currently use. It would be hard for me to comment on, but again, the numbers would change dramatically.
I understand that, but I'm just looking to the future.
Sure.
To make sure that somewhere along that, we still have a golf course if this goes through.
Anything's possible.
Well, I mean, the simple answer, I would say it
This
would
looks like a lot of land
be
there.
$250,000 to $400,000 to create the 9-hole golf course, just because of you have to create a number of new greens and a number of new tees.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
With
it
irrigation
looks like
changes.
the amount of land that's really being taken. I realize, that we're looking at the first hole, that's gonna go, but I mean, there's quite a bit of, I don't play it, so I can't tell you. But I mean, it appears like you still can have 9 holes over on the other side. I don't know how much holes, there are holes.
Well, yeah, I mean, you would probably have something that often is called an executive golf course, in the sense of a 9-hole course that the holes are like shorter, or that sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think, what I'm saying is, I think we wanna look ahead. If this does pass, where do we go?
Well,
Well, I don't really think we're going to have any voice in that, but that's
Right.
okay.
I don't either.
Steve, how many acres did you have in Oxford?
On the golf course, it was on 200.
200?
There's 900 acres at Oxford Greens with the housing and everything.
But you
The golf
used
course
up
sits on 200.
And they're willing to give us, 100 left if this deal ever went through? There's 100 acres left? I mean, that's obviously an answer that's negative.
Well, approximately, but I mean, some of the acreage really wouldn't be usable for the golf course or for a golf course. I mean,
So it's worse than.
or I mean, as an illustration, it's the whole like cell tower area. Yeah, that would be left behind, but the cost of turning that into a golf course would be, materially higher than, or it would increase that overall cost that I had mentioned. Yeah, yeah.
So they're thinking of, if the Toll Brothers thing ever passed, from my knowledge, there's gonna be 100 acres left. And what Steve just said
Approximately,
is that they needed 200 acres to do the job they wanted to do in Oxford. So we're short.
Well, just looking at the map, I mean, don't forget, I don't think they have really detailed it. I don't think they've gone and actually pointed out where all the different lines are, okay? But it looks like there's a lot more left over on this course to be than there are development on the course.
It's kind of too bad that these things always get in our way, because we've been fighting this for 9 or so years, trying to get you guys a contract or somebody a contract. That's better than a year, better than 2 years, maybe as long as 6 years. Can't get it.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is I'm not really clear why a portion of the lands are described as being proposed conservation
Right.
lands to be retained by town, and
Yeah, thank you.
the other portion of the site is just land to be retained by the town. So I don't know if it's a requirement of toll that these lands that are, quote, proposed conservation lands be used for the purpose that's described herein.
Well, when they're saying that conservation land, that's part of the course itself, Tom.
Yeah,
That isn't conservation, that's land that you're using on the course right now.
But what I'm saying is that in this proposal from toll, they call one portion of the land that would be retained by the town proposed conservation lands, and they call another portion of the land that would be retained by the town land to be retained by town. And I really don't know why there's a difference.
Well, I think, let's put it this way, I think this is not, first, it's not written in stone. This is a proposal, all right, that's gonna have to go out to the town, people are gonna have to vote on it.
The last time I saw this, Rich, they didn't even have a written proposal last week. I mean, they may have one now, but last week it was under discussion and this is what was given at the meeting.
And it looks like the clubhouse and the tennis courts and all those are gonna be under the town's. I'm just looking ahead, that's all I'm saying to you, and I think we need to look ahead. I don't think we wanna let them be in the lurk. I think we owe it to Casper to have them look at it ahead of time too. I don't think you just wanna sit back and say, okay, this passes, what do we do? I think we need a plan. What do we do if it passes? If it doesn't pass, who knows what we're gonna do? But I'm saying if it passes, what do we do as a commission?
Disband?
Yeah.
Disband.
Yeah.
We could be out of business, meaning us as a commission.
Following the golf industry, I heard multiple times there's no market for a 9-hole golf course. So the land might be there for it, but there's no market for it. What's the point?
Well, let's put it this way. I go by Milford Golf Course probably at least
Yeah, the
twice a
Orchards,
week.
the Orchards
There's
actually
always
does.
people out there.
The Orchards actually does very well.
And that's not, what's that, a 9-hole course, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, but one of the reasons, if you think about it, I mean, the town of Milford has 45,000 people, maybe, and that's other than Great River Golf Course, which you pay like $100 to play at.
Right.
That's the only golf course in town. So it's like, I mean, Westport's another town where you have a fairly large population and significant income levels, and there's really only one public course in town. And actually, there's a private course. It's only 9 holes. So I mean, our circumstances or demand and supply are significantly different.
What I'm just saying is, I always like to look ahead, okay? And I think we need to look ahead. I don't think we want to just sit back and say, okay, look, what do we do? Let's put a plan together. This is our plan.
We can help you get an architect and somebody to reroute the irrigation system and all that stuff, but that's going to cost money. If you're looking at a redesign, you could be, and like Deke was saying earlier, depending on which portion of the golf course you're going to use, I mean, you could be spending up to $1 million or $2 million to renovate, just to bring in somebody in. So, to just understand that, it's not as easy as, hey, let's pop some houses down and then
Right.
the holes and be like,
Right.
oh, this is going to work for us, right?
I understand that very well. That's why I think it needs to be something that your organization really has to look at it too. I mean, I don't design
Well,
golf
but
courses.
it doesn't
We do
mean-
not either. We manage them. We don't design them.
Right, and it would also depend on whether Casper even had any interest at all in a 9-hole golf course. And that would come down the road from what happens if this does happen.
Well, I'd say one thing they did, which I thought was good, that they're not gonna have their ingress and outgress on that road. Ingress and outgress looks like it's gonna be on Ansonia Road.
Well, that's, unless you live on Ansonia Road,
Which
that doesn't make
I
it
think it
private.
helps the people that live on that road, that they don't have to worry about the traffic on that road.
There's going to
coming
be
in
another
out.
access road directly across from Fairview Road also.
Mhm.
And,
The other thing, I don't know if you realize that, I had been pushing for the actual club, the building. I think from day one, they did, I don't know if you realize, they had an architect come in and review it. Are you guys aware of that?
The town did this?
Town did, yeah.
Yeah, it's on the website.
I didn't get,
Yeah.
I got some of the results of it, but I didn't get the cost on it. But they had, the architect, I think, firm that built it was over there and went over and reviewed it.
right.
So, I mean, I still have hope on that building, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe I'm the only one, but I do have hope on that building. So they are, somewhere along the line, the administration are listening to different comments.
Well, that architect kind of volunteered to do
Right.
that work.
Yeah,
And it
so
wasn't the
just-
town, right.
On his own.
Just to offer a little bit more insight on that, there is a proposal on the website by Herb Newman. Herb Newman Architects, he was the original architect who designed the existing structure. It lists 7 or 8 options for the building. I mean, to include things like demolition, to include things like demolition of the second floor, retention of the first floor. A lot of different things, and obviously different costs associated with it each. It doesn't include something. One of the things that I would like to see is I would like to, because there is all this buzz, which you mentioned numerous times. I think Rich, about moving recreation department there and/or the senior center. Well, maybe there should be a specific proposal for what those costs are, compared with, what any other costs that the town might incur in achieving those goals. But if anyone needs that report, I can email it to you.
Right. I think the actual thing is 50 pages.
Yeah, you can email it.
on
Or, I can email it to you.
Yeah, well, it's
It's a
50
lot easier.
pages. I
in
got
fact,
it.
email. Okay, okay. All right. Agronomic conditions, Mr. Petroselli.
Dennis, you're still awake here with us?
Still awake. In lieu of tearing the golf course apart, we've been working so hard to make it as good as it is, and we're talking about ripping it apart. Anyhow, we're as good as we've ever been. All that hard work, aerating and taking care of the golf course and taking care of trying to make it healthy and healthy soils, healthy grass, and we're as strong as we've ever been. So it's a little upsetting here they want to rip it up. But anyhow, I think we're doing well. We've gotten a lot of areas that didn't respond for several years to what we were doing to it finally give up and respond. So the greens are the best they've ever been since we've been in there. The fairways have really come around. All the aerification that we've done and cultivation work we've done has really come around. Currently we're going on 23 days without any significant rainfall, and we're hanging in there really well. So that's a good test. Other than that, I think everything's going well. I can't complain. Irrigation's holding up extremely well, knock on wood. We've had a very easy year with it, I should say, as far as keeping it going. The easiest it's been. Other than that, I think the sand in the bunkers has
It's
worked out
fabulous.
extremely well.
I have to say, I told Dennis, I played golf with some people who hadn't been on the golf course. Some hadn't been on in a few years. My sister from California was playing a golf course with trees. She could not believe the condition, and the condition of the golf course is incredible. And I can get out of the sand, which means there's enough sand in there. It's great. I feel like Dennis. You see what's happened on this golf course, and it really, Dennis, it looks great. And to think about tearing it up breaks my heart, but I have to congratulate Dennis and his crew, because
I
the
guess
golf course
we're
has not
hard.
looked like this in a long time.
So we're off to a really good start, and hopefully we'll finish strong as well.
Well, I will offer this as a sidebar. A week, 10 days ago, Peter Hill, who's Chief Executive Officer of Billy Casper Golf, and actually grew up in Woodbridge.
Caddied there.
Caddied
His first job in the golf
Woodbridge,
business.
50 or so years ago. And this is not the first time that he's visited the course. His mother still lives in this area, so he's, periodically here. But I mean, he had a lot of really good things to say about the, just how the course looked. Grass was growing, and all that. And I mean, it's noteworthy because obviously he doesn't need to say things like that. Yeah. But it's great. I did have a Dennis 9 going up the hill. It looks like that seed seems to be popping. And did you try it at all on one?
I did. Too much rock.
Yeah. Okay.
What we're going to do there in the fall is, with the larger aerator, pull the cores and try to work them into the
You mean
spots.
deeper, or when you say
No,
larger?
well, the machine we used on number 9 was the greens aerator,
Okay.
and I have tried that on number 1. There's just too much rock; it'll destroy the machine. So
Okay.
by using the regular fairway aerator, which will walk over the rock on
Right.
number 1,
Right.
whatever cores we do pull up around it, we'll push into the bad areas like we did on number 9 with the smaller machine,
Right.
and see how that works.
Okay. And that would be
Fall.
October 1st?
Well, we'll see, depending how busy we are in September with the outing schedule.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to try and get in several times this fall. But we'll
Okay.
see how it goes. But 9 certainly has come out extremely well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
amazed how well that's done.
This is an area where, it had trouble growing grass, and it's still, it's, not in a good environment because doesn't really get sun till late, and, things like that. But
Steep
it's just,
slope. We had a
yeah.
lot of tree root competition.
Yeah.
We went in
Yeah.
and trenched it to get the roots out. We laid a plastic liner in there to keep the roots contained, and seeded the crap out of that area. And it really came in strong. I'm very pleased how it's come out.
10 on the right, like around where what is that? What was that? Hemlock. Is that a plan in the fall for something there, or
10 I want to just beat the crap out of by aerating it, just keep beating it up. But
that
the biggest
cider in particular?
Yeah, but the biggest problem is those stupid drains across the fairways. The gravel's right on the surface, so they just burn right out.
Yeah.
D, how far do those drains go down?
Half an inch from the surface.
You mean the plastic?
Yeah.
Is half in it, or
The
what?
gravel is like
Oh,
a half
okay.
inch from the
Okay.
surface. You have no chance of growing grass in it. And there's two trenches like that.
Yeah.
If we can get some capital going, I mean, we want to redrain that entire area, and then we can get the drains down deeper, get some topsoil on top of the drains, and we can really get that fairway as good as we can possibly can get it. But right now, it's probably our worst fairway, and it's unfortunate. It looks like crap, but there's not much I can do when you get gravel on the surface and you can't grow grass in it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's better though without those trees there.
Oh, yes, it looks great.
It's better.
And or the holes more
Yeah.
playable.
Right.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does help dry it out, and
Right.
a
Yeah.
lot of balls go in there, so people
Yeah.
are able to keep people moving through a lot quicker as well.
Also aesthetically, it's really nice when you're standing on the tee boxes. You look straight to the pond, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a big improvement, I think.
And what we could stand a stump grinder, I guess, right?
Oh, yeah.
Would it take a day's worth of grinding for there?
Couple of days. We've got
Couple
a
of days,
lot of
yeah.
stumps on the golf course.
Well, I was thinking on 10 or
Oh.
in particular. I mean, that one area. Yeah. Okay. Now I did contact the town about whether or not the Department of Public Works would have any time this summer to at least do like cart path extensions, like clean up what do we call it? The walk-off area on 18, but number 7, 9. I think that's about it, isn't it? 7,
There might be some areas where we'd be better off just taking the blacktop out and hauling it away.
I don't know about that, because we'll have a lot of erosion. That's
On the hills.
gonna create another
Love
problem.
to have them do 9. 9 is tough.
Yeah.
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 9, I think, is the
And
toughest.
so,
yeah.
I mean, we'll get, or hopefully I'll hear back on that. Any comments, questions, sir.
Can I make a suggestion that maybe our next meeting, we go over and review the course?
Actually, I was going to suggest that we have it in the tent.
Okay.
In particular, or what we had done last year is we had a course review as part of the capital budget process.
Right.
Which, we we don't need to do until later, and so, maybe if in July we do sort of a regular meeting, but with the revenue forecast, and then in August or September, we
Okay,
can,
sounds good.
or actually thinking about it, probably August rather than, again, September, you lose another 30 days or whatever daylight, but yeah. Yeah. Okay.
If we want to do that, Deke,
Yeah.
make sure everybody kind of comes hungry. We'll put together like a little spread. That way we can. Maybe,
Okay.
Yeah.
And could you, Steve, could you check that date, July 25th?
I
Or I
will.
mean, in the sense of whether, maybe there's somebody's got something planned for the 10th. But yeah.
I think I've moved everything over to my personal calendar. Let's look.
Okay. I have two other things, and Phyllis, I know you have something,
Right.
but
What did you do?
there was an article, I don't know if you saw it today in the New Haven Register, but about
Just the junior academy. That's the only thing we got that day.
about
that
an
day
outing
was-
that we've had, at the course for a number of years. It's for the benefit of Special Olympics, and actually it was also for the benefit of a family in Guilford who have a daughter who's ill. But right in the register again, evidence of that other, or one of the other values of the golf course to the town. And I don't know, Steve, if you even got your email, but we should see if we can continue to have other articles like that. The only other thing I want to mention is the Recreation Commission is meeting tonight. I asked them if they could schedule one of the summer concerts at the country club. And, I don't know the logistics of these things, so, I don't really know. The simple thought was to have it on the practice range. The nice thing is that we also have the tent available, and, they can figure out, if they can make the logistics work, obviously they can figure out, where it works best and things like that.
People to look at the course.
Yeah, exactly.
Fills the parking lot.
Yeah, and on that note,
On that note, Steve, we picked on July 24th, yes?
Correct. Yep.
My idea, which for 2 years I've been talking about, and I spoke with Steve about it, and on July 24th, the golf course is going to close to golfers 5 o'clock, 4:30, whatever we get to, and we're going to advertise it as please come walk the golf course, take a look at it. It will be a leisurely walk. I'll be there.
I'll be there.
He'll be there, Mike will be there, whoever we can get. I'm sure some of the other people who work there will be happy to come, and they'll be there.
certainly will.
And I spoke to Anthony Taddy, and he said the pool is open till 8 o'clock. People can bring their bathing suits. We can talk about having hot dogs and hamburgers. And I just think it's important that we let the townspeople see how beautiful this land is. And you just can't walk away from something like this as quickly as maybe they think they should. So that's what we're going to do on the 24th of July, if you all agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
also a good way, I think, to get the town interested in the history of the golf course. I don't know, being an architectural major, it's kind of my thing. I'm a huge Donald Ross fan. I've read every book that Donald Ross has got out there, and the first time I played the golf course, I said, oh my God, this is a Donald Ross design.
Yeah.
Went to talk to Dennis about it. I said, who designed the golf course? And he said, Orrin Smith. And I said, Orrin Smith worked for Donald Ross for 8 years. Your golf course is terrific. It's got very Ross-like features, bunkering, layouts, mounding, and we need to promote that. And I'm going to start to promote the conditions of the golf course now that it's in good shape. We're doing a targeted email to people who have not played the golf course in a year or more to get them to come back, giving them an offer to come back off our rack rate, to come back and play it. You've got a terrific Ross-influenced
I think you
golf
should write
course.
an article.
Well, and the other thing too, for you guys who may not understand the significance of Ross, he's probably the greatest golf architect of all time. So to put that in perspective, I think he's probably got about 15 golf courses in the top 100
Yeah.
that have been designed. So it should shed some light on how significant that truly is.
He had a home. He had a home in Rhode Island.
Nobody knows this. We gotta get this
I
out.
think
I
that
know.
you should, we should get you, I know Mark very well, but we should get that advertised. I didn't know it.
And you know,
It's,
Donald Ross influenced design by Orrin Smith. You know what I mean? Because it is. It's very Ross influenced. It's a great golf course. You have a tremendous golf course. A lot of fun to play, and it's not overly long where it kills people out there. So.
Anything else to discuss?
Motion adjourned.
Got it. Anybody want a second? Where am I? Where am I? That's it.
thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, Steve, we'll talk. I'm going to get together.